Say yes every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are joined by the amazing Monique Shuler. She is the CEO and founder of Vericore Systems. Monique, thank you so much for joining us today. We truly appreciate your time. And we always start off the podcast with this vital question. You know, we go through our lives, we pick up little nuggets of insights, and we learn things as we're going through this life. And some things sit with us. Some things stay with us. And those things kind of, keep going as we move along. So, Monique, at this moment, we'd love to hear, what is a piece of advice that you'd love to share with all of us?
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. And it's the same advice that I always tell people. When I was a kid, I used to clean my aunt's house for a little bit of change. And she would take me to the candy store. And I would want to spend all of my money at the candy store, just spend it all. And because she was an accountant, she would say, take some, save a little. You can buy, a small thing. And then the next time you come and help me with my house, then you'll have more money and then you can buy the bigger thing. And that has stuck with me my whole life. It's why I'm in finance today. Just that small nugget when I was about 9 or 10 years old. It just sticks with me and I continue to live my life in that way. I try to control my instant gratification, right? Have a little bit of self-control when I'm purchasing things, and it just stuck with me, and it's why I am where I am today.
Oh, I love that, Monique, and such a valuable, valuable lesson, right? And it's interesting to me. You're making me think of conversations I've had with my kids where not every family or not every child has someone that has those conversations. And we see, of course, in our roles, right, in the financial services industry, you can see people that maybe have been guided with that advice, and you can see people that they just don't know. They just haven't been given that financial literacy, right? And we see how valuable that financial literacy is, right, in building that generational wealth. So kudos, number one, kudos to your aunt for giving that advice, and kudos to you, because even if you hear it, doesn't mean it sticks with you and you apply it. So with that, right, and having that knowledge, how has that helped you? I know you recently, you have a new company and you've taken this leap of faith. How has that knowledge and that wisdom kind of tied into what you're doing today? And tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Yeah, so it's stuck through with me throughout my whole lifetime, and it's something that I'm very passionate about, financial literacy and helping others, and it just kind of segue into what I'm doing today. Today, I'm building mortgage platforms that help mortgage teams with identifying issues before they become costly or an auditor finds them. And though that's a roundabout way of doing things, at the end of the day, it's helping the homeowner, right? If things are in order in systems and processes, then that helps mortgage companies have more customer service so that they can educate the borrower of where their financial situation is and how they can become homeowners. So it's the same principle, a different way of going about it, but I love finances in general, and excuse me, I love to help people understand their finances and help them become homeowners so that they can have a legacy for their family and their communities, and understand not just how do you get in a home, but how do you maintain a home? If you want to become a renter, how do you, or if you want to become a landlord, how do you rent out your properties, those types of things. And so beyond the technology, our goal at VeraCore Systems is also to educate. So we have two arms. We educate as well as we're building technology to help our industry that we were raised in to do better for the communities that we serve.
So tell us about the two different arms. So you said one arm is the education and the other arm is the technology. So how does education play into that?
Yeah, so we're currently collecting data within the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, just from homeowners and individuals that are not homeowners, just to see what their roadblocks are. We actually just we were at an expo this Sunday, and we asked the question, if you're a homeowner, what's your advice? And if you're not a homeowner, what's your roadblock? What we found from the homeowners, a lot of them talked about, tree root issues and, things like that. Make sure you start small and, make sure you can pay your principal. But one thing that we didn't see was how you use your asset with the equity in your asset, which was very interesting to us in the data that we collected. On the other side, we saw the typical roadblocks, pricing, rates, credit, that type of thing. And so one thing that my co-founder and I, Cecilia Jensen, we both are really big about education. And so we didn't want to just be another mortgage technology company. We wanted to be a company that really showed the community that we care about them, because everyone I know in the mortgage industry truly cares about their customer. But I don't think that's always conveyed. And so as we're building, we're trying to do both ends. We're trying to support the mortgage teams as well as educate at the same time.
I love that. And how fascinating that information that you received, right? And those, even having those conversations, a lot of times when you're going through the emotion of purchasing your first home, you don't necessarily understand the things and the responsibilities that happen after you own that home, such as, the things like the water heater, that maybe goes, or all of a sudden something happens with the tree, the big tree, that something happens. Like, those are the kind of things that people maybe have never gone beyond that first initial step of, okay, I can afford this. I can make that mortgage payment. Like, what happens when insurance costs rise, right? And the next thing you know, that payment that you're like, this is good. Well, what if that goes up substantially over the next 5 years from property taxes or insurance, right? Like, all of these things, that all ties to education. All of that ties to education. And even the example you gave about understanding that your home, your collateral, is your asset, right? And that is a very, very vital and important asset when you come to financial planning, or sending your kids to college, or investing, or whether maybe it's even you mentioned about becoming a landlord, right? That nowadays a lot of people are going into doing investment properties where you can take care of them. So all of those things, so much bigger than just what you hear in terms of, go buy a house, go get a mortgage. So much bigger than that. Love that. Love that. That's fantastic. Okay, so that's one part. We've got the education. If you're a loan officer who wants more speed, more support, and a lender that actually invests in you, well, this is Laura Brandao, president at MLB Wholesale. And we're not just closing loans. We're making lives better through real education, powerful programs, and a remarkable team that is there to help you win every single day. At MLB Wholesale, your growth is our mission. Your success is the standard. And when you partner with us, you're never doing it alone. Ready to level up your business? Let's build something remarkable together. Now let's go into the mortgage family systems. How are you supporting the mortgage industry?
Yes, so we're supporting the mortgage industry so that they can give that customer service. And the way that we're doing that is we're doing system testing, automated system testing. So when you're implementing a new system or you're releasing a new update in your system, allowing that testing to be all in one platform. So when
Got
an
it.
auditor comes, you're not looking for spreadsheets, emails, Teams notes to try to figure out what exactly was tested. And then also we're doing exception testing. So your production data, actually testing, did you post those payments on time? Did you follow the frequency of the escrow? And we're doing on both sides, origination and servicing, which on the servicing side, there's not too many groups that do there is business development, but it's in silos. So this is a way to do it an overarching over vendors, QC, your LOS system, as well as your servicing system. And it just gives you
Awesome.
oversight so that you can manage your risk and mitigate your processes or your systems or even training if there's a training issue. So that just gives you that eyes view of what's really happening in your systems and in your processes as well. And so once we're able to help you identify that risk, now you can give the customer service to your borrowers and your customers.
As you said that, and especially when you first said it, the first thought that came in my brain is how many times do you hear in the mortgage industry that people are being reactive, right? You hear that word about being reactive, right? Kind of like, ping ponging of who's the family that's an emergency next, right? That has to get to the finish line, has to come home on a certain day and time or whatever. Or, oh my goodness, there's this problem and now everyone is working on this one problem. And that is where customer service does slip.
Yeah.
Because when everyone turns their attention onto the Smith family, right, instead of all those other ones that are just kind of going along the assembly line the way they're supposed to, well, then the customer service does go out of systematized process. So what you're explaining is so on point because that is what hinders that customer service because we're reacting to, oh no, this is on fire because this happened and this caused this to occur. But
Right.
if you can keep things where you're doing that testing and you're doing that monitoring and you're making sure that, again, that assembly line is going according to plan, well, then everyone isn't being reactive. And that
That's
changes everything. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Yes, and that's exactly why we designed it. I've been personally in the industry for 20 years, my co-founder 25 years. And most of my jobs were to fix things. I was the fix person. I did the remediations when teams weren't working well. They would send me over to see why they're not working well. And a lot of times it was just that oversight, that constant oversight of not being able to see when things went wrong until a borrower called in,
Yep.
an investor has said something, or an auditor has said something. And we were very reactive. And now we're in the age where we have automations and AI and things like that that can assist us so that we're not so reactive and that we can actually mitigate our processes, our training, our systems to do exactly what we needed to do so that way we can give better customer service. So that is the goal, to be proactive. We're still in development right now, and we're excited that we'll be launching in Q2. So we're really excited and just trying to get people excited about it. And it's actually great timing because Freddie Mac just came out with that guideline, and there are servicer and seller guidelines around AI and machine learning about really knowing, how does your system work? How does your machine learning work? How does your AI work? And as an operator, do you really know how it works? And so this tool will help and assist with that so that when an auditor does come through, you're able to say, here's the testing that we did, here's all the information. It's all in one system. They can see it and you're not searching all over the place for that information.
I love it. I love it. How exciting. And that's fantastic. Perfect timing of all the changes that are occurring right now. All right, Monique, this is phenomenal. Thank you so much. And we are going to wrap up with our final question. This is my favorite because it's usually always unique. Like you don't have people say the same answer. So, our final question on Wednesday Wisdom is, if I took out my magic wand and I said, Monique, no limitations, no resource limitations, no knowledge limitations. What one thing would you do if you were completely unlimited?
Wow, so that's a great question. And I had to think about it a little bit. And there's another side of me that most people don't know. I also mentor people in prison. So a lot of people don't know that about me. And one thing that I would, if I could do anything for that population, would be to truly help them get healing. Um, a lot of times, there's a lot of trauma and scars from childhood, that have caused certain behaviors in adulthood. And if I can wave my wand, I would truly want healing for that population.
Wow. Wow. That is beautiful.
Thank
Like I said, I have not heard that before, and that's the reason why I love that question so much because everyone's unique, themselves have a different thing that they would accomplish, and I love that. And may
thank you.
that happen. May that happen. All right, Monique, please share with everyone. How can they connect to you? How can they learn more about Vericore Systems and what can we do to learn more, connect with you, and continue to have you shine bright?
Sure, you can connect with me on LinkedIn under Monique Shuler. That's Shuler, not with a C. You can also connect on LinkedIn with Vericore Systems, and you can DM me, send me an email at shulerm@cmtechop.com, and just connect with me because I would really like to know where your pain points are and how we can solve for them with our new technology.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. Keep shining
Thank
bright.